We have one more topic left, and that's JJ Redick. Okay. So we've talked about LeBron's devious plans, right? We've talked about that quite a bit. And it's hard not for that to lead to JJ Ridiculous. Tim Hardaway was on Mark Jackson's podcast. He was having a blast, Tim Hardaway. Oh my God. He was talking shit. And he was reminded of JJ Redick's comments about 80s and 90s players. He didn't hold back. I want to play it for you guys. I have to play it for you guys because it's really good. But first, I want to take you back to JJ's firemen and plumbers comment that he made about guys from the 80s and 90s. JJ Redick does, he pretty much does not belong as a coach of the Lakers or a coach of any NBA team. Tim Hardaway mentioned the plumbers and firemen comment that JJ made in a fiery debate with Chris Russo. It was extremely tone deaf and shows his lack of respect for the game and those that came before him that built this league. It obviously went viral and the old heads were pissed. I've talked about this in one of my earlier videos when I first started my channel, and I've played this before, but I want you guys to hear it again because it's shocking to me that after something like this, he could have had a job in LA or anywhere in the NBA. This should have been like the nail in his coffin. And we should have never seen him on ESPN again either. So I want you guys to hear from the late, great Jerry West. He was responding to JJ Redick's fireman and plumber comments about players of the past.
Appreciate it all the time. A couple more questions.
Wait. Hold on, guys. One second, guys.
JJ Redick, current player who just recently retired, said that Bob Cousy played against firemen and plumbers, and Bob came on and wasn't too pleased. And you played in that era, and those guys set the table for us to be where we are today. And I was just interested in your thoughts on comments like that about your generation and the generations that paved the way.
Well, obviously the game is completely different. The athletes are completely different. And I know JJ just a little bit. He's a very smart kid and everything. Look, tell me what his career looked like. What did he do that determined games? He averaged 12 points a game in the league. Somewhere along the way, numbers count. At that point in time, the players aren't what they used to be. JJ certainly wasn't going to guard the elite players. And so you can nitpick anyone. And I'm not, the only reason I'm talking about him is because he was not an elite player, but he was a very good player. But he had a place on a team because of his ability to shoot the ball. But those players at that era, and again, that was when I started to see the difference in athleticism. My era, I was an athlete way before my time. I had a huge vertical. Probably no one in the league was much faster than me. And certainly the competitive part of it, I would put myself among any player that played the game. Today also, winning is all that matters. That's what drove me. And I subtly got better every year. We didn't have the facilities to get better. We had to work in the summers to support our family. But AJ should be very thankful that he's made as much money as he's made. And Bob Cousy, who I played against a couple of years, not very long, I just think it's very disrespectful myself.
was very disrespectful, quite frankly. And I mean, what did JJ's career look like? A choker who did nothing in the finals when he played for Orlando? JJ Redick is trash. He averaged 12 points. Who the hell are you to criticize those guys that came before you in that manner when you had better resources? You had better facilities to go to. You didn't have to work in the summer because you were rich. And that's the best that you could deliver, averaging 12 points and never made a name for yourself doing anything in the NBA. Now, guys, we can fast forward to last week when Tim Hardaway sat down with Mark Jackson. I'll play this clip for you guys. It is a little long, but it is a good one. So bear with me.
Appreciate it all the time. A couple more questions. What would Tim Hardaway Sr., healthy and whole, average in today's game?
Oh, 40. Easy. Easy. I get to shoot 15 threes a game. I'm like Steph Curry. I'm like Steph Curry right now. It'd be hard to deal with me right now. All the I had, it'd be hard to deal with me right now. Every 40, easy.
And the crazy thing, there's young kids, and I say this respectfully, that's watching saying, oh, that's just an old dude talking trash. No, this is Tim Hardaway Sr., Hall of Famer, had all the tricks on the offensive end. He would get numbers in today's where you can't put hands on him, and he had all space in front of him. He put on a clinic nightly.
Nightly.
And speaking of, I don't know if you know what Anthony Edwards said, who's a great basketball player who has an incredible future in front of him and is going to be the face of the league at some point, if not, real soon. But
love watching them play. Love watching
the 90s players and how they couldn't play today. I totally disagree with the guys we faced and played against.
Totally disagree with him. Love how he plays. Love watching him play. He is going to be the face of the league. I think playing with those guys in the Olympics helped him out tremendously. But man, when he said that, we was watered down. Are y'all your mind? We was watered down. He wasn't even born then. How you know what it was? You know what I'm saying? He wasn't even born. When was he born? 2001? 2002? He wasn't even born. How you know what was watered down and what wasn't watered down? And then JJ Redick, what did he say? He said that we was mediocre or something. What did he say? I don't even know what he said. But
janitors.
Huh?
He said something about janitors and custodians.
Yeah. Man, please, man. He couldn't even play back then. We wouldn't in the Park District. We wouldn't even have him playing back then. We wouldn't even have him on the court. He could only dribble. That's all he could do was dribble. He couldn't even. The only thing he could do was shoot. He couldn't even dribble the basketball, man. Come on, man. I just tell you this, man. They irked me when nobody never played in that era. How you gonna talk about that era? You never played in that era. So you can't talk about that era. You never been in the physicality that we've been in. You never grew up how we grew up. You didn't go through the things that we grew up doing what we had to endure when we was growing up. You don't know what made us. A lot of guys are athletic. You telling me Dominique wasn't athletic? You telling me that of course Michael Jordan or it's a lot Junior Bridgman or them other guys wasn't athletic, man. There was a bunch of guys that was athletic and could play.
Can you imagine having to be defended by Alvin Robinson?
Oh, man, please. Alvin Robinson being defended by him? Man, one time he picked me up. He said, oh, yeah, the dog. You got the dog on you now. You know how he be like, dog. I said, okay, I'm going to tell you this, what I'm going to do to the dog. I'm not going to even say nothing. After the game, he's like, yeah, I see it. He said, yeah, that's real, huh? I was like, yeah. He said, okay. He wasn't talking about the dog no more. But yeah, man, you know, them guys that never played in our era, and they talk about our era, I'm like, you know what? Y'all need to stop that. Y'all need to really seriously stop that, because it was a lot of bad in the 80s and the 90s that could really, really, really play. Yep.
Last question for me: who is the GOAT?
Oh, Michael Jordan, no question. Michael Jordan's the GOAT, no question. I mean, you know, he's been there 6 times and he refused to lose 6 times. You know, when he put his mind to play defense, he went out there and played defense. He don't take no days off. He didn't lack a day's go stuff each and every day. He went out there and he played for the fans, and he gave a damn about playing 82 games too. He didn't take off. You know, load management. Michael said, "I'm gonna bust your in practice, and then I'm gonna go out here and bust your in the game." Yeah. But that's where we was, man. So I mean, no disrespect to LeBron, no disrespect, and you know, out of sight, out of mind, Kobe Bryant. You know, to me, 1 and 1A. 1 is Michael Jordan, 1A is Kobe. Point blank. You know, that's the way I see it.
Last question for me, for real this time.
For real.
All right, guys. Tim Hardaway said what he said. He's standing on business, period. JJ Redick wouldn't have even been able to play with those guys back then. He said he can't even dribble. He could only shoot the ball. And quite frankly, JJ Redick wouldn't have had the space to do that in that time. No one respects JJ Redick. The media went on a campaign for him to call him brilliant and to say how smart he was. He's a complete fool. I don't respect him at all. Setting up Darvin Ham to get fired when he's already failed. JJ Redick has already failed as a coach. He failed to deliver that second in-season tournament banner. They didn't even make it to the last round. They got cooked by the Thunder. And they've been getting cooked by any good team, any half-decent team. They've been getting cooked by teams that don't even have their best player on the floor. JJ Redface hasn't made any decisions on the floor that led to winning, in my opinion. He has horrible substitution patterns, leaving players on the floor that are stinking it up, such as LeBron James. Every game, he has egg on his face. And it seems like he probably does a little coke after the game, hence wiping his nose constantly. I do want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Would Tim Hardaway Sr. average 40 in this league today? Do you guys believe that? In today's era, would he average 40 easy? What do you think? Is he capping for clicks? I'll read some comments and we'll open the phone lines up. I have time for one more call, and then we're going to end the live, guys. So let's see. There's no more delusional on this earth than NBA players from the 90s. You know, I think that I don't think it's a delusion. I think that they feel so disrespected. They have to go all the way to the other end of the earth when they're, deciding to criticize. They're going to exaggerate. They're going to puff their chest, right? So I think that's just like where it comes from, is the, just the bravado, the ego. Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice, World Breaker. Nice to hear from you, buddy.
Man, what's good, John? How y'all doing today?
Come on, you got to do it. Come on, let's go.
You already know who it is, man. This your boy, the World Breaker, the #1 basketball fan ever to live. Ever. Okay?
I love it. All right, tell me what's on your heart. Do you think Tim Hardaway Sr. was capping for clicks?
Look, I'm going to just tell you like this. The same way y'all feel about us is the same way we feel about y'all. Okay? Every era think they better than the past. Just like the 70s think they better than the 60s and the 50s. Then the 80s think they better than them. The 90s think they... Look, At this point, the cycle just need to die, and people just need to recognize the evolution in the game. Okay, and I'm glad you played Jerry West's comment, because to be honest with you, to some degree, he kind of proved what JJ was talking about. He admitted that they weren't full-time players and that they weren't training as hard in the offseason because they had to work. I'm just saying. Like,
what he admitted was that JJ Redick had more time to be JJ Redick. What he was admitting was that JJ Redick didn't have that job in the summer. So he got to train all summer long to still be mediocre. To still be probably less than that, actually. He wasn't even he wasn't even really average. What he said was that he was way ahead of his time. So I think that, like, what Jerry West does is he's fair. I think, he criticized his, the players of his generation fairly. He spoke on them the way that they deserve to be. And the only point that you made, I agree with you that right now, because of the battle of the eras, basically, I believe that right now, like what you said is true, where, old heads feel not good about the young people and the young people feel the same way about us. And like, I get that. The only disagreement that I have is that I don't think that 80s players were disrespecting 70s players and 60s players. Like that wasn't the case. Back then, what they would say, and they were very humble and they were very respectful to their, to their big homie. Everybody has a big homie. Everybody has somebody that you take over from, and you're supposed to respect that person. You're not supposed to disrespect them. And I think that's what's causing a lot of the problem. Even when they criticize you, like in your family, let's say your aunt or your uncle, they've never like said something you didn't really like.
I mean, I respect their opinion, but
no, I'm asking you though, has like a family member that was older than you, an auntie, somebody that you respected, somebody that was much older. Have you ever heard the term respecting your elders? I'm sure you have, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. And you do, right? So like, you're not out there talking back to your grandmother. Right. So like, you don't like that. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Like, even though they might be criticizing them, let them criticize and just, be the bigger person. Take the high road. You're playing now. You're making millions of dollars that they broke their back for you to get. You can be respectful. You can say, you know what? It's okay that they have that opinion. The league has changed and there's been changes in the league. And, I didn't compete against them, so I wouldn't know. I didn't even watch them, so I wouldn't know. But, I appreciate their opinion. I can hear that. Like, I can respect those things. That I can respect that. You don't need to address everything. Have you addressed every single thing that came your way, World Breaker? That somebody said about you?
Probably not.
Of course not.
Oh, no,
if something's not true,
yeah.
you don't always need to reply. So I think what really started this, I'm going to be very honest with you, what started it was Charles Barkley saying that LeBron didn't want to compete, and the soft comment. So the idea that, today's league is soft, and guys coming out and saying that, it attacked their manhood. So people felt disrespected as men. And so that's where it came. And that came from the old head side. So I believe that they kind of started it by coming out and saying that today's guys, that they're soft. It wasn't just that they criticized the game. They said that they were soft. And I agree with them, but it really hurt their feelings. And so when you do that, you have to expect that they're going to clap back and say something. And then it just hasn't stopped since then. But I wish that somebody would decide to put an end to it, because it's kind of ruining the fraternity. And it's now everybody it's siloed by era. And really all of these people should be coming together. But today's league, starting with LeBron James and that Charles Barkley incident, it really divided people. And that's the problem that I see.
Okay. Yeah, counter respond?
What do you say?
I said, go ahead and counter respond.
Of course you can.
Yeah. And you're definitely right about that. But what the older generation got to understand too is, in order to get respect, you got to give it out too. Because honestly, today's players face way more criticism. We got way more media out there than y'all had back in the day. And to some degree, what you're saying about media.
So there's different kinds of media, World Breaker, but there's not necessarily less stress. There wasn't less stress back then. People had the media, the paparazzi jumping out of bushes. Now you have protections against that. Paparazzi cannot follow you around and kill you like they did Princess Diana. But that's what they used to do. It led to people dying. So like when you say that, you know, there's way more of this, it was just different. It was the newspaper. You know, imagine waking up in the morning and you're on the cover of every single newspaper on every corner of every street. You know, that's not easy either. So it's different, and you didn't live through that. So to say that today is harder, you just don't know. Everybody's circumstances are different. That's all I'm saying, is the circumstances are different, and we really need to stop comparing, because it's not fair, because they didn't face these circumstances today, and today's players didn't face the circumstances of the past. And we all need to have respect for each other, but it's tough when certain things are happening.
And you know, at the same time, though, y'all didn't have no Instagram, no YouTube, no like literally people like you. Think about how many people watch you, and you consider small.
Yes, but
we
that's
definitely
what I'm
got way
trying
more
to
eyes on
I'm
us
trying
and
to
more
tell
criticism.
you, World Breaker, it was just a different
It's
kind
not
of
comparable
media.
to newspapers.
Yes, it is comparable, because it's not just newspapers. That's what everybody read. So if everybody is consuming a newspaper, if everybody's consuming the radio, so before it wasn't YouTube and internet, it was radio. Everybody had a little radio that they walked around with, and that's how you got to listen to your gossip. And yes, players got torn up. Michael Jordan, he was accused of killing his father through gambling.
Dominique, do you think more people read newspapers than they use social media?
You want to know what I think? I think that more people showed up to games, and I think that more people actually attacked, harassed players. I think players back then had it much harder. I think it was much harder to be a black NBA player in the 60s. Imagine going up for a layup and the announcer is saying, that nigger needs to learn that he can't just go in the lane. Imagine that.
Right.
I'm just saying, players today don't have that. They don't have the blatant racism that they had in the 60s. Bill Russell was literally physically fighting against that. He was marching.
Right.
He was a civil rights activist, but yet LeBron gets credit for social activism, when really it's guys like Bill Russell that, you know, that really did those things, and they were really out there physically doing the work themselves. I have never seen LeBron out there doing any work for anybody. I'm just being really honest with you. So you're telling me that, you know, social media, look, I think that social media has contributed to mental health issues for the NBA players. I think that there's a whole new set of challenges, because now they have mental health issues, whereas that was always a thing. Mental health is always something that was important, but it wasn't important in the 60s, 70s, 80s, because people were just trying to figure out how to stay alive as a black person in the NBA. Today, they don't have that struggle. That's all that I'm trying to tell you. There was different circumstances. There was radio. There was television that people watched in black and white, but that's people ran home to consume that media, just like people are running home to consume whatever media that they're consuming today. It's just different. And I don't think that people can sit here and say this was harder or this was worse, when all the circumstances change and they are different per the era. But people today disrespecting a time that they don't know about. That's the problem. You don't know. If you don't know, how can you speak on it? How can you say something is worse when you don't know, when you didn't live through it?
Right. So the older
I'm just saying, did you live through segregation? But did you live through segregation?
No.
Exactly. Neither did I.
Right.
Did you live through seeing Michael Jordan play with his feet bleeding in his shoes? Guys would never do that today. They're crying and they're taking off a game for an ingrown fucking toenail.
Hold on now, Dominique. You know, Jason Tatum played the playoffs with a wrist injury. Chris Paul played a playoff game where he couldn't lift his arms. I'm just trying to tell you. Don't you know that Joel Embiid played with half of his face swollen? Like, players play through injuries today too. Like, come on now, don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay, we've seen players back in the day actually play with a broken arm, or you know, like a leg that was pretty much broken. We've seen it, like literally broken. So again,
Okay.
and again, I just think that we have to stop saying that one is better than the other. I think we're saying the same thing, you and I, except I'm not willing to say that something's worse today. I'm not willing to give credit to that. No.
You believe so? Yeah. Like I said, I agree with you here and there. But at the end of the day, these older guys, they
Let me ask
disrespect
you a
the younger
question.
generation. You got to give respect to get respect.
Okay.
Okay.
And
When
I
y'all
think that
say
a lot
we
of them
soft,
did.
we don't.
I think Tim Hardaway said, this is no disrespect to LeBron. Like everybody always says that. A lot of people do. A lot of people put respect on even Mark Jackson. He talked about Anthony Edwards. He said he was a great player, but they still criticize the comments. It's like sometimes I feel like young people, they just hear what they want to hear.
Okay, yeah, he gave Anthony Edwards praise. He gave the generation praise, but then he not criticize him too, so we can't respond to criticism. But y'all can respond to
He
criticism.
criticized what Anthony said. So here's my rule for anything, right? So in life, I feel like if you say it, then we can pick it up. So if Anthony Edwards is putting something out there for the public to consume, then he's got to expect people to reply and pick that up. We're going to pick up that information. We're going to, in Stephen A's words, pontificate further. That's what we're going to do. We're going to try to interpret what he really means, or we're going to have a reaction to that, whether we feel offended or feel good about it, agree, disagree, what have you. But that's what's going to happen when you speak. And when you speak erroneously, that's when there's also problems, right? You're going to be criticized for that. And I'm not saying that someone can't have a clap back, but at what point do you just own that maybe you were wrong? Maybe you shouldn't have said that. I have never heard Anthony Edwards come out and say, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I've never heard JJ Redick come out and make a qualified apology to Jerry West and the other Laker legends that he offended. He needs to address that.
I never heard an older player do the same.
I have. Charles Barkley apologized to LeBron.
Okay, that's one.
I've heard it's not just one, it's multiple.
Look.
It's multiple. They have. So this shit has to stop. It really does.
Yeah,
it needs to stop. But the old heads, they have given criticism, but also given praise.
And we've given our fair share of praise too. Let's be honest. We just celebrate Michael Jordan, and he ain't even played in 20 years.
Well, that's not something that's not even a control. That's not a controllable piece. You're celebrating Michael Jordan by design. You're celebrating Michael Jordan because you probably wear his sneakers. He's a brand. He's a global icon.
Right.
So Michael Jordan might not just be the best basketball player, but he might be the greatest athlete that has ever lived. And
he might be.
He might just be. You know what I mean? LeBron sneakers, they go on sale. I buy them when they go on sale.
Right.
I don't know about you.
But yeah, like the younger generation, we give y'all way more praise than y'all give us. So y'all got to stop the cap on that.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you. The negative praise is just as much as the positive praise, and the younger generation has been more disrespectful. The scales have tipped. When you're out here, it can't be cap. You want to know why it can't be cap? I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why it can't possibly be cap. Because if somebody is watching a game, then they have the right to comment because they are a spectator. These old heads, they're still watching. The young guys, Anthony Edwards and other people who have said ignorant comments that is literally not based in reality, they didn't even watch.
He just said one thing, though.
It's not just one thing. It's a loaded thing, though. It's a big deal. It's a big deal when you say that nobody had any skill prior to nobody had any skill except Michael Jordan. That's what he said. That's a problem. That's not just disrespectful. You're assaulting. That's an attack. Deal. That's an indictment on an entire era, and that's a big deal. And not all of the old heads are saying that these guys are soft. Most of them don't even deal with social media. Most of them don't even say anything. They're responding to people coming out saying these things like an Anthony Edwards. They're responding. At this point, they're responding. They're not coming for you unless you send for them. They're old.
That's cap, Dominique.
It's
That's
not
cap.
cap.
Y'all-
Give me
y'all
an
been-
example.
y'all been-
Give
y'all
me an
been saying-
example. Give me an example besides the ones that I just gave you. Charles Barkley started it. I gave you that. I admitted that. So tell me where I'm capping.
You're capping because everybody been for the last.
I need examples. I can't just be capping
Okay.
with no examples. So you got to give me at
'Cause
least
y'all
one
always-
example. Somebody that
You-
just
oh,
came
wait,
out unprovoked talking about the young players, calling them soft for no reason. They
Okay.
weren't responding or reacting to something that today's players said. I need the example.
You got Shaquille O'Neal. We could go Kenny Smith. We could go
Shaquille O'Neal. When did he talk about Rudy Gobert? When? After Rudy Gobert said that Rudy Gobert said that he would lock up Shaq. Unprovoked for no reason did he say that.
I'm talking about
Shaq didn't
JaVale
start with
McGee.
him.
I'm talking about JaVale McGee.
So, okay, and you're really going to bring up Shaq when he works for the media? It's his job to comment. So you need to give me another example. Somebody who's just not playing. No, but you can't use the media. He's an analyst. He works for TNT. That's his job.
But he's also a player, Dom. He's a player,
but this
Dom.
is his job. You can't talk about somebody's job. So minus Shaq, who else? Who came out unprovoked?
You don't want me to use nobody from the media because
it's not that I don't want you to use anybody from the media, but that's their job. So they're being asked a question. So that's not unprovoked. That's the point I'm trying to make. So the media, they're being asked questions.
Well,
they have a moderator on their show that asks a question and they're responding. That's not unprovoked. So I'm asking you, who is bothering today's young players just completely unprovoked, and these guys are just out here minding their business? Tell me.
Okay, we could go with Reggie Miller comment.
Again, another media person who was asked the question. Kenny Smith works in the media, and they're all asked a question and asked an answer.
No, you're not asked the question.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. They're being asked the question. They don't just bring up something out of nowhere. You can't tell me anybody who just said something unprovoked. You can't.
So where did this defense, everybody jack up threes, players today, they always rest and they stop. Where did that come from?
Is that
It didn't
not
come out of
true?
nowhere, Dominique.
Let me ask you a question. Is it not true? Are players not
No,
resting?
it's not true. These players are not soft, and not everybody is bad
soft.
on defense.
I don't think you watched 75 years of basketball, and I don't think you watched 30 years of basketball.
Well, what makes them soft?
What makes them soft is the way that they attack the rim. What makes them soft is that they literally say things like it hurts to dunk the ball. I never heard that until 2023 in my entire life.
Dominique, you ever dunked a basketball
I
before?
actually have, and it does hurt, but nobody has ever in the history of the basketball game that I've ever played complained about it to me. Nobody. I never heard that before until, like I said, 2023. I never heard a pro complaining that it hurts to dunk the ball. That's a superstar, but I heard that out of Paul George's mouth.
But anyways, I'm just telling you.
I'm just telling you. That's what makes it soft. What makes it soft is when Andre Drummond sits out a game because he has an ingrown toenail. What makes a player soft is LeBron James breaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scoring record, and as soon as he breaks the record, goes and sits out the rest of the game, and they lose the game. Soft. What makes it soft is in 2011 when you're competing in the finals, and you just literally disappear. Soft.
That's not soft. He just play well.
No, it's soft. It's
you think
soft
LeBron's soft?
It's soft. Yes, I do. I think LeBron is soft because he doesn't want to compete. When you're going after and trying to get a bunch of other players because you don't want to compete, that's soft to me. But everybody has different definitions of that. But there is no defense in the league.
Hold on. See, you doing it right now. You say LeBron don't want to compete.
I don't think he was. I'm gonna continue to flame LeBron. I'm gonna continue to be on his ass. I'm not talking like I am. So you want to call me a hater? So be it. I'm fine with whatever people want to say if that's how they view it. If you view my comments as hate, I'm okay with it because I'm gonna keep saying it because this is my truth.
I ain't say you hate.
I'm just saying some people will say that.
You accusing LeBron of not competing. Do you know how hard it is to be a good NBA player? To play 20 years. Do you know how hard it is?
I do not care. That's your job. That's your job. So it is hard. I'm sure it is hard every day to get out there and compete. The lights are bright. The moment is shining upon you. But this is your job. He's been doing it for 22 years. So that makes him experienced and qualified. So get out there and do it.
Do you know how hard you got to work to play 22 years? You know how many times you got to be in the gym? How much you got to invest in the gym to play?
I'm sure
22
Kareem
years to play
Abdul-Jabbar
LeBron
knows
level?
about it. I'm sure Kareem Abdul-Jabbar knows what it's like to play for 22 years. You know, I'm sure that
Right.
other
it's
players
very hard
have a
to
deep
do.
understanding of that. And people have given LeBron credit for playing 22 years. So we're not talking about his
No, they
longevity.
haven't.
Yes, they have. And we're not gonna get into longevity because that's irrelevant. The question is Tim Hardaway capping for clicks?
You know what? As a competitor, I respect what Tim Hardaway said. 'Cause honestly, if I was Tim Hardaway, maybe I would have said the same thing. But let's be real. If you didn't average 30 in your era, don't say you would have scored 40 an hour. Okay? Because at the end of the day, they already had their opportunity to shoot whatever shots they wanted to shoot, to play however they was going to play, and they didn't do it. Okay?
You think that they had the chance to jack up 15 threes a game? Do you believe that? You think they had the chance to play like Steph Curry when you don't have the space to shoot in a 90s league? There's no space. You're being guarded 94 feet, typically.
Not everybody was being guarded 94 feet every game.
Oh
See,
my
y'all be
God.
capping about that.
Oh my
too.
God. Look, I'm not capping.
You know how many times?
I'm not capping.
You know how many
You didn't
times I've seen
watch.
a point guard? Well, guys like Tim Hardaway and John Stockton, they played the game differently. They were coached differently. Okay, if you watch back in the day, you know how many times you see a point guard bring the ball up and he just dribble it in one spot for like 12 seconds because he's just trying to throw the ball to the dignity and trying to run offense.
But do you know why they did
have
that?
a mindset.
Do you know why? It's not about a mindset. You had to play a certain way or your ass was going to be on the bench. If you jacked up threes, if you shot from logo, your ass is sitting on the bench. It wasn't their choice. So again, different circumstances. That's all I'm saying. Guys back then didn't have a choice. Guys today do. They have a lot of choices. They can choose what team they want to go to. They can choose who's on their team. They can choose how they're going to play. They can choose, oh, I don't want to play defense, but I'm going to play offense. They can make all those decisions, like a Luka Doncic.
Okay.
He can just decide when he feels like playing defense, when he doesn't.
So in the 90s, y'all still had hand checking, and you think the game was still in the same state when Tim Hardaway played it, right?
I did not say that Tim Hardaway would be able to average 40 in today's league. I don't believe that.
No, he wouldn't.
And a lot of he might be able to average 30, but not 40.
How many points did Tim Hardaway even average for his career?
I think he might have averaged 24 points a game, somewhere between 24 and 28 points a game. So he was a really good scorer, but he was also a point guard. Back then, point guards didn't score. So the fact that he could really score the ball as a point guard, he was a great ball handler. He did a lot of things really well. But, I don't think that he would average 40. But I do think that a player like Michael Jordan might average 45. I think a player like Kobe Bryant might. I think Kobe Bryant might average 40 or 45. Players like MJ and Kobe that know how to score on so many different levels, they might be able to average so much more because back then, players today, they wouldn't even know how to get in the lane. There wasn't enough movement. There was no open lane for you to get to. That's all that I'm trying to explain to you. It was really a whole lot of different circumstance. And, it's okay for you to say, hey, I don't like the disrespect of today's players. I'm okay with that. But there is, where there's smoke, there's fire. And you just have to own that there are some opportunities in today's league. They're not making changes to the All-Star game because it's just so great and competitive. They're making changes because it sucks. The league, I think the opening game was like 1.3 million viewers. Caitlin Clark beat the NBA.
Hold on now.
That's a disgrace.
I'm glad you brought that up. Look, some of these things y'all just don't understand, okay? First of all, this ain't the 90s no more. Where everybody is watching from the same place. We
I'm
all
sorry,
watching
World
some
Breaker.
different.
I already debunked this. I'm sorry. I
No.
have your back. I already debunked this. Gilbert Arenas tried to make this excuse as well. The same streaming service, the same things apply to other leagues. Why are people watching MLB and why are people watching NFL? They have the same. It's the same situation. NFL
You can
has the
watch more games
same
for free
revenue
on the
sharing.
NFL.
NFL has the same. You can watch more games for free, but where can you find them?
You can find they got streaming services too, but you can watch
And
a lot of
the
games
NBA
for free.
finals and the NBA finals. Is the NBA finals free? Is the Super Bowl free?
Super Bowl come on a national channel, don't it?
So do the NBA finals. So let's just isolate the NBA finals.
Right,
Nobody's
but not everybody
watching that.
it on the TV.
All I'm trying to tell you is that 130 million people watch the NFL for the Super Bowl, and it continues to grow and increase.
But
NBA
that's football, though. Football the most popular sport, though.
All I'm trying to tell you, I know that football is the most popular sport. All I'm trying to say is that viewership should not be decreasing for the NBA. It's so bad. It is so bad that it used to be 30 million people watching the finals. 36 million, I think, watch Michael Jordan. And I think about 5 million people watch LeBron. 5 million.
But anyways, you got to stop comparing the W. You got to stop comparing the WNBA to the NBA because that's
I'm not
comparable.
Look, it's not comparable, but now the WNBA, the views are practically the same. That's all that I'm saying. People can't say that nobody's watching the WNBA when they are watching, and in fact, they're watching more than the NBA because people are just watching highlights. No, World Breaker. It's not that. Oh, it's expensive to watch the NBA. It's not any of that. It's the way that people consume it. They just don't watch it and they watch highlights. They come to YouTube, they watch highlights, they go to ESPN, they watch highlights. They're not watching games. They don't want to pay for it because the product isn't good. If it was good, people would be paying for it and they would be watching and they'd still be watching at the same clip of 30 million views.
But anyway, you got to start comparing the WNBA viewers because they season start in the summertime. We're in as many scores. If the WNBA started
the WNBA
in October,
was
like
still
the NBA,
hitting with NFL. People thought that WNBA was going to tank as soon as NFL started. It didn't. So I hear you, but you're wrong again. You got to try again. Hit me again.
No.
Hit me again. Hit me again. NFL did not decrease the WNBA ratings. It didn't.
So you telling me if the WNBA, if they season start in October, they still get more viewers than the NBA?
WNBA went up against NFL on Sunday for the finals, and they still did very well. That's all that I'm trying to tell you. Do I believe that WNBA going up? Yes, I do. So I actually believe that if WNBA was going up against NBA right now, more people are going to watch, just like they did for college. Women's college basketball beat the NBA as well.
Yeah, it's college basketball.
No, women's college basketball, not men's.
You know
women's college basketball beat men's college basketball, and it also beat NBA. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Women's basketball,
Well, I'm not talking about college, but I'm talking about the WNBA.
And the WNBA is beating the NBA. There should be no scenario. Can I tell you that WNBA doesn't even get? They don't even have. I don't even know what freaking channel they come on. Ion or some bullshit. They're airing from ESPN2. They're not even airing from like a main network. I'm sorry, but you lost. You got to hit me with something else.
Hold on. No, let me ask you, Dominique. What month did the WNBA finals start?
I don't know, and it doesn't matter. They're beating NBA.
It do matter.
It doesn't matter. The NBA is going to lose. If they start with the NBA in October, I'm telling you, they're going to lose. NBA doesn't want to compete against Caitlin Clark.
WNBA.
Okay, you don't watch it, and that's okay that you don't watch. But plenty of people are watching. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Plenty of people are watching that WNBA more than the NBA. Plenty of people. That's what's happening right now. So you don't have to believe me, but the facts are the facts. I'm just telling you facts.
What month did the WNBA finals start?
I don't know because I don't care. That's not the topic. It's irrelevant. I'm just telling you. I don't care. I don't care because because what I'm telling you is it doesn't matter. I don't care if it starts in January or December. I don't care if it starts in October. I don't give a flying shit when it starts.
I'm bugging out. It shouldn't matter when it starts.
It doesn't matter when it starts. If it starts in March, the women's basketball is beating men's basketball, period. That's what's happening. And you have LeBron James to thank. So thank your king.
Dominique.
And your Jason Tatum, who can barely dunk at the rim with any level of aggression.
You delusional if you think WNBA has the same viewers if they start in October.
No, I think that I think they would have more, not the same, but more.
Nobody even watched them. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
but
sorry.
Except they did. Go and look it up.
Ain't no other sports.
I already proved it. I already showed these facts on another video. I already showed the ratings in black and white. I can't make it up. It doesn't matter. Can I be honest with you? It literally does not matter because nobody ever watched the WNBA in the past. They should not be beating the NBA. The NBA should be in the multi-millions of views. They should be at least double-digit millions of views, and they are not. They're under 2 million in views. That's a disgrace.
Look, the TV rating system is so outdated.
It's not about TV. How could it be about TV? 10 million people watch the Olympics. People are still watching TV.
Like come on now.
People are still watching TV. People watch.
That was created in 1950. Like, come on now. The TV rating system don't matter anymore.
If it didn't matter, then why are 130 million people watching the Super Bowl, but less than 5 million people are watching the NBA Finals? Why is it that people still watch the MLB?
Why is it that
everybody's still watching baseball?
Why did the NBA sign $100 billion TV rights deal if ain't nobody watching?
Because people are watching highlights. It's about how they consume it. The NBA is smart. They realize they don't want people to watch TV. Do you know that? The NBA doesn't want people to watch. If they watch, it's going to get they're going to lose money.
No more.
No, they don't want people to watch TV. They want them to consume it exactly how they're consuming it. So this way the NBA can push stars that aren't really stars, like LeBron James. Okay? They get to decide.
LeBron's not a star.
They get to decide who they're going to market. They get to decide, oh, this person isn't really that good, but we're going to market them. Like Bronny James. Can I go now?
I get it so dumb. Yeah, go ahead.
World breaker.
Look, man, look. I just say it like this, man.
Say it like this.
Y'all got to start hating on the younger generation, man. We get y'all.
It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. A relationship is a two-way street. A relationship is a two-way street. Y'all got to stop saying you're the greatest ever of this and you're not better than my dog in something. It's got to stop. That's all I'm saying.
Man. Well, look. When they stop, we'll stop. Okay, that's all I'm saying. But yeah, shout out to the comment section, even though I don't watch the comment section while I'm on the phone. I know they probably talking crazy right now. Yeah, man, I know you're ready to get out of here, Don. So you have a good one.
All right, World Breaker. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. All right, guys. I think I see another super chat. I'm going to read that and then we're out of here. Tim was a bad mofo, but he's not going for 30 points per game. Brother Juma, talk to me nice.
Good this morning.
I'm so good. How are you?
Blessed, black, and living in abundance.
I love it.
Thankful. I woke up this morning from my prayer and I'm like, I know this woman isn't going live right now.
I know. I'm trying to get off. I was trying to get off for like 45 minutes, but you know,
I'm sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry. I love chatting with you guys. I really do.
That's what's up. Well, I appreciate it.
What's on your
Will Breaker, man? He's a good guy. I appreciate Will Breaker. He really shout out to you, brother. He's a good man.
I love World Breaker. He reminds me of my little brother.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he reminds me of my nephew for sure. Yeah, I just want to mention real quick. It just seems like these are simple, not even arguments, because they're points, because these aren't real arguments. But it comes just down to holding yourself accountable as as a person. You know, if you say something like I'm from an area where, you know, my dad, you know, my uncles, grandfather, you know, shut your mouth if you don't know.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. If you don't know something, shut up.
Just
You
that
know,
simple.
be quiet, and then give yourself. And if you want to speak on that level, you know, then you go educate yourself. You know, you go, you know, get some books, talk to some people. You know, look. I guess now Google, look online. I would cross-reference anything on Google with a real book. You know, because it's actually hard to find certain stats on players, especially LeBron. When you Google stuff, it stuff just doesn't come up if it's not, you know, shining him on. So that just tells me there that that's not a good resource anymore, because they can, you know, put what information they want on there, you know, and they can hide stuff they want as well. I just recently started finding that out when I can't find stuff. I'm like, that's crazy. But all I'm saying is that you know, they just need to be held accountable, and it started with, of course, with when Jerry West, when JJ Redick made those erroneous statements. He should be ashamed of himself. You know, like say they wouldn't, even if you don't like what someone is saying, the truth is just the truth, and especially when someone is paving the way for you, there's no way they could have done what they've done during that time during the 60s. You know, with the stuff that the players had to go through back then, they don't even have a clue of that. And that's clear, because if they did understand the real burden that they went through, you know, being cursed at and spit on, not allowed to go into restaurants, or not even to stay in certain hotels. Bronny's in here refusing to go to the hotel when we didn't have that option to be in the hotel, not even but 30 years ago, you know, 40 years ago. After that, 50 years ago, you know. And, you know, then just spilled off when Charles said what he said about LeBron, saying that, you know, after, because it always comes after a whole bunch of great statements. Oh, I love LeBron. He's a great player, one of the best of all time, da, 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 da. And then you have to completely glaze him up before you can just make a simple statement, you know, about them being soft. Yeah, LeBron's soft. He's constantly flopping. He can't even finish at the rim. He's the biggest man on the court. He goes into the lane. He bowls people over. But instead of him putting up a legitimate shot and trying to get an and one, he fumbles and flops and drops and loses the ball because he knows he can't get to the rim. You know, and everyone in the day would get to the rim. It's an and one. Jordan was nothing but an and one. You know, Anthony Hardaway, Grant Hill, Vince Carter, everybody, even the smaller guys, you know, like Jason Kidd, you know, everyone got to the rim, and it was an and one. You just didn't flop once you got touched and flare and flail, and then go get two, and then go brick 2 free throws. You know, so Charles Barkley was just keeping it real. They're soft. They can't. The lane's wide open. They can't get, when they get to the rim. You know, they can't handle any contact. Anyone could look at videos of Jordan or anyone in the day and see the amount of contact they were getting. Those were blood fouls in the day. Those were blood fouls. Like if you came in the lane, they were going to really try to hurt you. You know, Jordan had to go to the gym. You know, and then of course the ending was with, I mean, to my opinion, when it really took off is when KG, after Anthony Edwards made those statements, and KG went off. And you know, KG's always holding back. I don't know if he's a company man, because sometimes he's all about LeBron, but sometimes he's not. I think he was just being respectful and didn't want to cause no drama. But after Anthony Edwards made those statements, you know, I don't know if anyone ever, I'm sure you have, but when him and that show with him and Prince Paul, the Ticket of the Truth, but when he went in on, I don't know the exact words, I forget, but he went in on Anthony Davis and all love. He says, I'm tired. I can't sit here and play around no more. You guys can never handle our era. He just went in on him. You know, KG just couldn't hold back. You know, and it just really just comes down to, like, really, if you're going to say something, you know, first off, excuse me, let me just not be through. First, if you're in a profession, you need to know your profession. You know, you need to know about the job, especially if you're a professional. You need to know, you know, your job. You know, you need to know where it started, who's the founders of it. You know, those pinnacle moments. You know what I mean? That helped it grow. Those essential people that helped build it. You know, those are the things. The founding fathers. That's just general. All these companies do it. Like, you know, you work for IBM or Apple or whatever. You know who you don't have to, they talk about in the orientations and stuff, just the history of the company. And that's the information you want to know anyway. I mean,
Right.
that's what builds pride of the company you work for. But then also you have to know what you're talking about. Like no one can just bite a hamburger and say it tastes like chicken. If you never had a hamburger before, whatever, it just doesn't make sense. Why are they so willing to say something? And then the first thing he started with, Anthony Edwards, was, "Oh, I don't watch the games," or "I don't know." So how can you? So you basically took all your credibility, you took all the wind out of the sail before you even spoke. You shouldn't. If you're going to openly say "I don't know about it" or "I never watched it," that completely, invalidates all your whatever you're going to say after that. What you say doesn't matter because you're admitting that you have no knowledge of what you're about to say, and that's just crazy. And it's entitlement. Well, I can just say what I want to say. That's the era we're living in now, where you're not held accountable. You're not held accountable to the contract. You're not even held accountable. It's scary when you're not even held accountable to the words that come out of your mouth.
It is scary. It's like super duper scary. When you see, when you're just not even willing to do the work, you know what I'm saying? To
exactly.
even figure out, like, you're coming behind a lot of greatness and you don't have any respect to even figure out the league that you're playing in. It's like showing up to work and you're not prepared.
Exactly.
To me, that, it goes to just like not being prepared for work. It's crazy.
I agree. And they just need to have some, like you said, it's just respect. No one was making any real money back in the day. Everyone knows that. And for them to pay those dues and to work the way they did and to get to league to where it was, because they didn't make the league that way. Right. It was like, I think we mentioned before, it was Magic. It started off with Magic and Bird. They got it popping. And then when Jordan came in here, his endorsements just took it to a whole nother level, and then when they went to the Olympics, that dream team went to the Olympics and made it global. And that's when that money started coming in. So they developed the league for them to have this money. It's just like, even just that, you don't have to like them. You don't have to like them, but just respect, what the trials and tribulations they went through, but then also what they built this league in order for them to reap those benefits. And it's really disgusting. It's pitiful. It's unbelievable that people will just not even give respect, for something that, their hands up. We made this league for them. Our generation made this league for them, and they can, and we're constantly, that's one thing about with World Breaker, what I don't understand is that, brother, we're constantly having disclaimers before we make any type of criticisms.
I know.
Of LeBron James.
We have to say how much we love LeBron first.
Yeah, it's a paragraph. Like 5 or 6 sentences about, well, yes, he is great. Yes, he is that. Yes, he is that. And then at the end, look, Bronny shouldn't be playing right now. But he's a narcissist. And I'll end with this. I know you're tired. You got to go. I got to get my prayer. But, and I'm not trying to, I've always been, I was a LeBron fan even after he went to Miami. I'm an LA Laker fan. I went over there because I love Pat Riley. And I just, I follow, certain personnel, as well. But he, for him to, to see what's really happening right in front of him, and for him not to see what's really going on, like he really is delusional. He's a narcissist. It's almost to the point of being, I think, social, like some type of sociopath, where he just doesn't see what's going on in front of him. He doesn't understand what's happening. But he's got drunk off of his own Kool-Aid for so long that the same people that he put on when he first came into the league to make sure his ring of fire of media that he brought with him with Rachel Nichols and what's the name, the Wemby, the big kid, the I forget his name, Wemby. He brought them with him. Those are his safety nets. And for them to turn their back on him because he has no loyalties. They make some true statements about him or his son, and then he gets butthurt and then takes them off of, and then just doesn't follow them on social media. Wade takes a back seat and lets him come on his team. Literally teaches him how to win. He didn't deserve any of those MVPs. Those were all Wade's MVPs. But he can't even say thank you and say, hey, well, he's like a big brother to me. He really embraced me. He helped me get to the next level, and then doesn't even go to his Hall of Fame speech. It's like he has zero respect for anyone. He really believes this hype, and now literally his lollipop kingdom legacy is falling down and around him, and he doesn't even realize it. He doesn't even have the wherewithal, to understand, the conscious state of mind to understand that everything is falling down around you. But he believes the lies to a point to where he's self-destructing. And it's so weird to see it like in real time. It's like he really doesn't get it, and for people to still hold on to him and hold on to this fake narrative, the legacy of LeBron James is not stats. If it was just about stats, then everyone would have thought that Kareem was the GOAT. No one thought Kareem was the GOAT just because he had the scoring title. And Kareem also just didn't finish at the rim. He had the sky hook. No one could do the sky hook. It's an unblockable shot. So it's just so unfortunate. I mean, I'm just hoping that when he does retire, that he's not able to manipulate, the way it is. But it's good to see people, Perkins and all these. I mean, he still has his paid, I don't know, they call them shills or his paid. He has people on payroll. But to see people who are loyal to him for decades to literally push back against him, it's glorious. It's a beautiful thing to see.
I'm with you, Brother Juma. I really am. We need to.
Thank you for letting me rant. I appreciate you.
No, anytime. We need to keep telling the truth. So
yeah,
I'm here.
And let me just say real quick. I know I was calling you Chef Dom, but the other day I didn't call in, but I was listening to you, and you were doing some psychological comparisons between like a relationship when a person thinks they someone's been trying to leave somebody,
mm-hmm.
and the other person isn't aware of it, and then when they start treating them bad, and then they finally leave, and when the person leaves, they think that they're the ones who are leaving,
right?
But the ones who's leaving is hoping that they don't come back.
Yeah.
That whole segment, you had all these different psychological comparisons to LeBron James. So now you're not just Chef Dom. Now you graduate. You Doc Dom now.
I'll
the
take
DOC
it.
Dom.
I'll take it.
Doc Dom.
I'll take it. If you say it, I'm here for it. Thank you so much for calling, Brother Juma. You're awesome.
Thank you for putting it in. I know it's late night, but I ain't gonna lie. I appreciate you. I know it's crazy. I'm an early riser. I've been up since like 4. I work out and I pray bright and early. But I was gonna say, I know it's crazy because sometimes you start a little late. You know what I mean? And it gets a minute, but just the fact that you still are consistent and life is life and things happen. Some people will just say, "Oh, I'm gonna wash it. I'll do it another time. I'm just gonna make a video and not go live." The lives take a lot of time and effort, and I just appreciate that you still hold it down. You're like, regardless what time it is, that just shows the love of the game that you have, you know what I mean? And just the responsibility you're taking to not let people, tell these lies and really these narratives about the game of basketball. And let me just ask you real quick, are you a 6-footer? Because you have long fingers, and also you just said you dunked today.
Really? I feel like my hands are pretty proportioned. But
so
no,
you're 6-footer?
Not at all. I'm only 5'9".
And you dunk?
No, I just have. I dunked on like a kiddie rim, like a lowered rim, not a child rim, but I didn't. But it does hurt.
Like an 8 foot, 9 foot rim.
And like honestly, I've been able to jump and grab the rim, but I haven't to dunk at 5'9" for a woman is really hard. So
I was gonna say, yeah.
No, I could jump and grab the rim, and even that, like holding on to that is hard and it hurts sometimes. So
it still takes time, yeah. But no one's ever complained. That's crazy. No one has ever complained.
I never heard a real superstar, even LeBron James himself. I never heard LeBron James complain that it hurt to dunk the ball. So when people say that the league is soft, those are just small examples of it.
Yeah. And even too, back then you just put a little headband on you, a headband, and put on your forearm.
That's it.
Yeah, that's what that was when they were doing that. Jordan and all those, and what's his name, Vince Carter, and
exactly. You came up with ways to figure it out.
Yeah.
You have
put a pad on your forearm.
Out here talking about that's why he doesn't. I don't.
Oh, boy.
Nobody wanted to see you dunk, so you didn't need to do it.
No, he can't dunk it. He knows it because if he could, he would because he'd do anything he could to be in the spotlight and make himself feel relevant.
Exactly.
But he couldn't. That was a bold-faced lie. He cannot dunk, and I'm surprised people didn't come out, teammates or whoever else, and say when, where.
Exactly. But thank you so
All right,
much.
well, I'm not going to hold you
Really
up. Thank you. Appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
You too. Have a wonderful
All
weekend,
right, peace.
and thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Peace.
All right, guys, we're going to call it a night. I just want to thank everybody for staying up late with me. It means the absolute world to me for you guys to be just calling in. Oh, we have Funky Town calling, so let's see what's on his heart and mind. Hey, Funky Town, how's it going?
You can say one more thing before you shut it down.
Go right on ahead. The floor is yours.
Those of us in the chat, we need to come up with a portable pot and spice assortment for Ricky and World Breaker and anyone else who wants to get in on it. And, so we can have, because I mean, they were self-cooking today. Like they were putting themselves in the pot and you were pretty much stirring. You had a little bit more spice too and absolutely put the flames on. But just like I said, I think we might have to do what they call it, crowdsourcing or something. Get them the proper equipment.
I'll come up with something. You want to know what I think that I'm gonna put up from now on when LeBron James fans call in to cry? I think I'm gonna do like the Kim Kardashian crying face for Bronny. Yeah, since he's a Kardashian, I'll do something.
Yeah,
I'm here for that.
Stands out and he look like Bugs Bunny, doing some Hassenpfeffer, cutting his own carrots in his own stew, and especially World Break. I was surprised that he was able to keep it straight for as long as he did, and for you, for your own self, wellness and everything like that. Don't play with your food so much. You know what I mean? Okay. Sometimes just flambe real, flamethrower. And then,
I love World Breaker. Let me just say, Ricky, that was my first time speaking to him, and
man, listen,
I can tell that these things are really.
Any man that's gonna sit up there and say that somebody who doesn't know kid is better than his own children, okay? Any man, that means you are a sorry ass father because you literally said the ones you raised.
The ones that he raised, and not only the ones that he raised, but the ones that he raised and are out there working with their hands and working hard.
I mean, if that's true, if that's even true. But the point is, the ones that you raised, you trying to sit up here and tell my black behind that this sorry worst player in the NBA is better than your own flesh and blood. I wouldn't say that about my own cousins or something like that, but I'd be damn I'm giving somebody else credit over my own children. What I know what I put into my own kids. You gonna come up here and internet is undefeated. I'm just gonna say it like this. Ricky better hope he don't come back. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say it like that. I'm gonna flame him every time. I'm waiting on that dude. You're gonna sit up here and try to play father of the year and you're gonna say some stupid crap like that. I'm only saying go say crap right now because it's Sunday. But anyway, you having a great show, sister. You keep it up, and we're looking out for you.
Thank you so much, Funky Town.
All right,
I really appreciate you. Shout out to all the mods. I also want to shout out Ticket TV. I see you over there in the chat. I'm trying to give you a wrench, but I don't think I'm for some reason I don't know how to do it from here. But I'll figure
y'all
it
have
out.
good. And shout out to Ticket too. Ticket had a really really good point he made. How Bron is sitting at a -4. Plus minus.
Ticket is always cooking. So guys, please go over to his channel. If you're not subscribed, go over there and like, share, and subscribe to Ticket's channel. He's incredible.
Absolutely.
I watch him every day. So, check him out, guys. He's like the MJ of the YouTube street. So
he's doing it up. But now you up there, sister. You keep it up.
Thank you so much, Funky Town. I appreciate you, and I want you to have a good rest of your day, okay?
All right, you guys too. Everybody else, hit that like on the way out if you haven't already.
Thank you so much.
Y'all have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, guys. we're going to close out. Again, I want to thank all of you for hanging in there with me. I know it's late or it's early, but I really appreciate it. If you guys can do me a favor and like the video, share the video, subscribe to Sports Tea if you haven't done so already. I just, really love talking about sports with you guys and hanging out with you guys. So I will see you soon. So probably in another day or two, but we'll be live again soon. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.